सो मिल्ट हाउस में एक इंग्रेडिएंट है जो ज़्यादातर आपकी रेसिपीज़ में होता है.
That is correct.
कैन यू टेल अस अबाउट दैट इंग्रेडिएंट एंड उसके अराउंड सब कुछ सेंट्रलाइज्ड है, लाइक
That's
हाउ डिड
correct.
यू प्लान ऑल दैट?
That ingredient, I think you're talking about cheese. We do a lot of cheese at Melt House. We're called Melt House for a reason because we do a lot of cheese and chocolate. Why cheese? Because again, when we're thinking of doing comfort food, as we spoke about earlier in this conversation, we want to do comfort food. And when I look back on my childhood or my wife's childhood or my partner's childhood, cheese has always been a big part of this, right? Because great comfort food maybe starts with cheese for us at least, right? Of course, aloo ka paratha being another exception, but cheese is a very big part of this deal, right? So we wanted to do grilled cheese, and we realized we want to go big on this cheese idea.
Yeah.
Right now, how do you do that? The first and the most difficult part was to find the right sort of vendors. We believed that we want to start with a lot of indigenous products because, again, for a brand sitting in 2024, we wanted to have the right kind of values that represent us, and sustainability is one of those values, right? We wanted to support local producers, and we were lucky because when we broke into the picture, a lot of other people were also breaking into this industry who were producers. Somebody was doing artisanal cheese in parts of Uttarakhand.
Oh.
So when we were looking to source our vendors, again, I spent a lot of time on Google. I spent a lot of time on YouTube, on Instagram, just to be able to find places. And one good way to find vendors for us, again, I'm not sure if people are still doing this, but what I did, and I'm sure it'll be beneficial to a lot of people listening to this podcast. When I was thinking कि यार चीज़ खरीदना है, कहाँ से लें, नहीं समझ में आया. गूगल किया तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स मिलते हैं. Distributors obviously will give you the rate list and all, but most of these will be imported products.
Yeah.
You want to use indigenous products, those guys are harder to find. But how do you find them? Back in the day, food hall was a big thing. So there was a food hall in Chanakyapuri, there were other places.
Yeah.
I ended up going to those places. Of course, retail product hoga. But I pick up products from their cheese section and I flip the box. Box के पीछे नाम लिखा होता है कि कौन producer है. Manufactured by and marketed by. So I figured out manufactured by कौन है. And you write them on a diary and then you research them on Google. You somehow figure out their contact details through Instagram. You DM them on Instagram, find their email. You just write to them. Just a cold call or a write to them.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, a lot of these people wrote back and they were interested because they were also expanding. So we had a direct relationship with a lot of our vendors. Example being Old Hill. It's a great cheese producer, Mr. Nitin, based out of Uttarakhand. I realized there's another great cheese producer in Uttarakhand called Darima Farms. How I found them? There's a place in Def called, they sell a lot of artisanal products.
Okay.
Forgot the name. I think it's called Nature's Basket or something. But I did the same thing. I went to a retail store, picked up products from the shelf, पीछे देखा यार producer कौन है, found them on the internet, gave them a call. So we found Darima Farms. Our Gruyere came from Darima Farms. All our cheddar and a lot of other cheeses and Parmesan came from Old Hill. We found great Kalari cheese out of a producer in Kashmir. Apparently there are a couple of great cheese producers in Kashmir. And great cheese, completely homegrown, very indigenous, has a very unique flavor. Got those cheeses in, tried a lot of recipes with those, right? Sometimes we were able to find the correct melting product, sometimes we weren't. So we had to find substitutes. So maybe 35% of our current cheese, and we use a lot of cheese and a lot of different kinds of cheese. So 30% to 35% is imported, but 65% is completely indigenous. And it comes from all sorts of producers. We get a lot of cheese from producers in Kodaikanal. I realized there's a lot many producers in Kodaikanal. One of the best burratas I found in the country is from a producer in Bombay. But now, I mean, I'm talking about a couple of years back.
Yeah.
But right now, you find a lot of cheese in and around Delhi itself. You don't have to worry so much. But in 15, again, it was a little difficult. So we found a great burrata from Bombay. We had different people selling us fresh cheese. We got a lot of cheese from Flanders, based out of NCR. We spoke to a lot of people, right? And a great way to start when you're looking for producers is to go to supermarket shelves, see who is the producer there, and just give them calls. That helps. Again, Google is the safest. Or you could also look at going to some of these trade fairs and festivals, right? So Ahar being a very common fair, a lot of people go to Ahar, pick up a lot of brochures, give them calls, set up relationships, always help. And maybe 7 months into the journey, we got a great purchase manager in, and ever since that, my life is sorted. I don't have to worry about this so much. He figures it out. He figures it out for me now.
Okay.
But we had to set the initial relationships going. So, what more do you want me to talk about the cheese?
I want to know, as of now,
Yeah.
if we compare Indian origin, or Indian origin cheese or imported cheese, do you think we are going towards that quality and flavor, जैसे आपको बाहर की मिलती है?
Okay, great question. Well, yes, for sure. Yes and no, right? Because different producers do different things. If you were to ask me, are indigenous producers
Yeah.
as good as foreign producers? Why not? Sure. But of course, yeah, some of these products have IPs, right? So for example, a whiskey really, from what I know, a whiskey can only be made in certain parts of the world, right? So if it's a bourbon, it can only be made in Tennessee, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for example, if it's a
Champagne, it can be made
champagne
in-
is only
yeah.
champagne in France, right? So similarly, a lot of cheese are, I think it's called the process called geotagging, right? So certain cheese are geotagged to certain locations of the world. So of course, they are probably going to be the best cheese you can get. But Indian cheeses have their own unique flavor, and some producers do an outright amazing job with it. For example, Old Hill did a great cheese for me, which was a hemp and spirulina infused cheddar. They did it for us for a pop up we were doing. Incredible cheese. Whoever I served it out to loved it. They've never had experience. All of our customers who sampled that cheese told us, "Yeah, we've never had something like this before in our lives." So very, very unique product. Again, you have to be able to appreciate that all these cheeses. So the quality is top notch, right? Because these people they really focus on their quality, and the processes are very intensive. They're trained abroad. A lot of these producers,
Yeah.
so they know their quality. But both of these products will have different characteristics, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sure.
let's say a British Gloucestershire cheddar will have a very different characteristic. It'll have a different color. It'll melt a certain way. Whereas an Indian cheddar will also melt a certain way, have a different characteristic. Both are good in their own way. And depending on the producer, some people make mass market product. So definitely quality versus price वो थोड़ा अलग होगा. But some people make high quality artisanal goods. And I believe in sourcing those because again, artisanal quality and people who make everything by hand, effort करके बनाते हैं, process से बनाते हैं, mechanized process कम follow करते हैं. Great product, great character, and that's the kind of product we believe in. So our charcuterie producer is also from NCR, artisanal meats. Mema does a great job, but her sausages or any artisanal charcuterie I get from her is top notch, uncomparable. And I've tried commercial products also, but hers is a league apart. And these people are trained. They've really practiced their craft for a long time, so
And you
they
can
can
see
really
that.
surprise
Yeah.
you. Yeah, 100%. You have to pay a premium for the artisan products, but the quality kind of justifies the price.
अगर आपको ये वीडियो इन्फॉर्मेटिव लगी और ऐसी और वीडियोस देखना चाहते हैं सो मेक श्योर टू फॉलो ट्रूफुल नेशन ऑन यूट्यूब.